fist pumps and mic stand twirls. The result? A sequence so immersive you'll feel like you're one of the 72,000 fans in crowd. The film's authenticity didn't stop at the visuals. The sound design is a character in itself, earning Oscars for Best Sound Editing and Best Sound Mixing. Sound designer John Warhurst and his team worked closely with Queen's Brian May and Roger Taylor to pull from the band's original multi-track recordings. For scenes like the creation of Bohemian Rhapsody, they layered Freddie's vocals with Mark Martell's sound-alike tracks and even some of Rami Malek's singing to create a seamless blend. The film's Dolby Atmos mix makes every note hit like a thunderbolt, whether it's the operatic harmonies of Bohemian Rhapsody or the stomping rhythm of We Will Rock You. If you're watching at home, plug in a surround sound system or good headphones, because this movie's audio is a game changer. Fun fact, the sound team even recreated the creaks and hums of old recording studios to make those scenes feel alive, down to the sound of tape reels spinning. Let's talk about the costumes again, because they're too fabulous to cover just once. Costume designer Julian Day didn't just dress the cast. He brought Queen's era to life. Freddie's wardrobe alone is a journey, from his early bohemian scarves and vests to his leather-clad rock god phase. One standout is the white wing jumpsuit from Queen's 1975 tour, inspired by designer Zandra Rhodes, which Day recreated with meticulous detail. The team sourced vintage fabrics and worked with tailors to ensure every outfit moved like Freddie did, fluid, bold, and unapologetic. Brian May's long coats, Roger Taylor's glam rock jackets, and John Deacon's subtle cardigans all reflect their personalities, evolving as the band's fame grows. Day's work earned praise for capturing the 70s and 80s aesthetic, while keeping the focus on the characters. For fans, spotting these iconic looks, like Freddie's crown and cape at Live Aid, is like a treasure hunt. Now, let's get into the cultural and historical context, because Bohemian Rhapsody isn't just about Queen. It's about a time when music was changing the world. The film spans the 1970s and early 80s, a period of social upheaval, from the sexual revolution to the rise of punk and new wave. Queen stood out because they didn't fit in. They blended rock, opera, disco, and even gospel, defying labels. The movie captures this rebellious spirit, showing how the band fought against industry executives who thought a 6-minute song like Bohemian Rhapsody would flop. Spoiler alert, it topped the UK charts for 9 weeks and became a global anthem. The film also nods to Freddie's identity as a Parsi immigrant from Zanzibar, raised in India and England, which shaped his outsider perspective. While some critics want to more focus on his cultural background, the movie weaves it into his drive to create something universal through music. The film's global impact was massive. When it hit theaters in October 2018, it didn't just revive Queen's music, it sparked a cultural phenomenon. Box office numbers tell the story. $910.8 million worldwide, with $216.7 million in the US and Canada, $76.1 million in the UK, and a whopping $115 million in Japan, where Queen has a massive fan base. It became the highest-grossing musical biopic ever, beating Walk the Line and Straight Outta Compton. Streaming platforms like Spotify and YouTube saw Queen's song skyrocket. Streams of Bohemian Rhapsody alone jumped 350% post-release. The soundtrack album hit number 2 on the Billboard 200, a rare feat for a decades-old band. The movie also inspired countless tributes, from cover bands to social media challenges where fans recreated Freddie's dance moves. It reminded the world why Queen's music, 18 #1 albums, 18 #1 singles, and 10 #1 videos, still resonates. Behind the scenes, the film had its share of drama. The switch from Bryan Singer to Dexter Fletcher as director made headlines, with Singer leaving due to personal reasons after about 80% of filming was complete. Fletcher, who later directed Rocketman, brought a lighter touch to wrap things up, ensuring the film stayed on track. Despite the change, the movie feels cohesive, thanks to a tight script by Anthony McCartan and editing by John Ottman, who won an Oscar for his work. The band's involvement was crucial. Brian May and Roger Taylor were on set, coaching the actors on everything from guitar techniques to Freddie's quirky sense of humor. They even approved the final cut, ensuring the film honored their friend's legacy. Some fans nitpicked historical tweaks, like the timeline of certain songs or events. But May himself said the goal was emotional truth, not a history lesson. Why should you watch Bohemian Rhapsody? Because it's a love letter to dreamers, misfits, and anyone who's ever felt like they didn't belong. It's about a band that broke every rule to create music that's still played everywhere, from stadiums to karaoke bars. Rami Malek's performance is a revelation, capturing Freddie's charisma and vulnerability without caricature. The supporting cast, Gwilym Lee as Brian, Ben Hardy as Roger, and Joseph Mazzello as John, makes you feel like you're part of Queen's inner circle. The music, the visuals, the energy, it's all designed to sweep you up. The PG-13 rating means it's great for teens and adults, though it doesn't shy away from the rock lifestyle, showing partying and personal struggles with enough grit to feel real, but not overwhelming. For the tech geeks out there, the film's production values are top-notch. Shot in 35mm for that retro vibe, it uses a 2.39 to 1 aspect ratio to make concert scenes epic and intimate moments cozy. The 134-minute runtime flies by, thanks to tight pacing and a soundtrack that never lets up. It's available on streaming platforms like Disney+, Amazon Prime, and Fandango at home, with Blu-ray editions offering extras like the full Live Aid performance. The film's awards for Oscars, a Golden Globe, and 2 BAFTAs prove its quality, even if critics gave it a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes for leaning on biopic tropes. Audiences with an 85% score loved its heart and spectacle.